Alright, welcome back to the tutorial. In the last tutorial, we learned the basics of Git. In this one, we are going to learn how to add SSH key to our GitHub. Let me show you something. I will open that last project. This was our last project. Remember, I was able to push something to Git, so I want to show you an example. Now, I'm going to just type another line here. And then I'll do git add. I need to type git add this dot git commit added new line. I want to clear it so you can see the error message very well. Git push. First of all, let me check the branch that I'm currently on. So I'm in the master branch. So I want to say git push. You will remember -u origin master, and this time around we are going to get an error, right? They say github.com permission denied, public key feta could not read from remote repository. Then there's also a very confusing statement here. Please make sure you have the correct access right. Well, actually what this means is you don't have the permission to push to the repository. If this is my repository and somehow it look surprising, but GitHub need to authenticate you when you're trying to push something to the remote repository. Remember, this was the diagram we drew. This is our computer, and now this is our computer. Up there now we have GitHub. We have GitHub, and the code from our computer is currently up here in another repository. So that's our project is now also up here, and then it's up there in GitHub. I can just expand this guy a little bit. It's up here, but as we are sending this project from here to GitHub need to check first if you are the owner and also if you can write to the project. So in order to make this happen, you need something called SSH key. To get an SSH key for your project, first of all, you want to go to git bash. Open and search for git bash. This is very similar to the command prompt, but I want you to continue using git bash for this one. It's very good. This is how you're going to be able to do it. So run this command. If you search for how to generate SSH key for GitHub, it's going to give you something really similar, but I want to keep it really simple. So you type SSH-keygen. I'm going to accept all the default values. I'm also assuming that you don't have an existing SSH key. If you have an existing SSH key, you may need to specify a name, but I don't have anyone, so I'm just going to press enter. It's asking me that it's going to generate a public and private key pair, which I'll talk about shortly, in this directory. So it's putting it in a folder, a hidden folder .ssh key, and then this is the name of the file. So I'm just going to press. Say if I want to enter a passphrase, which is like a password to the key, but I don't need that. I'm just going to select all the default values, and this is now the final result. So I have the keys here. I'm going to go into that directory, cd. I can do this to go into that directory, and then I can do ls. And these are the files. I'm able to run some of these commands. They are mostly Linux command, but I'm able to run them on Windows because I'm using this bash, git bash. Please remember to use the git bash. I'll type L and just to see all the files like this is the generated file. Now, here is something very, very important. I want to emphasize on the importance of what I'm about to say. Never open this file or send it to anybody. Of course, when I say don't open it, I mean don't open it for someone else to look at it. Don't send it via email. This form without any extension, this ID _RSA. Anytime you generate key pairs, you are going to have two files. One without any extension like this .pub and one with an extension. The .pub is public, is for public. That means that can be shared. That can be, there's no problem. But this one without an extension is your private key. Your private key is like your toothbrush. You don't share it with people. Please, please, please. When we are going to add it to GitHub, we don't add the private key. We are going to be adding the public key. So next thing, I want to open the public key. I'm going to open, let me open like this. I want to start, I'll type start dot. So I can open the folder here. Look at all the files here. I'm not going to open this one for you to see, but I'm going to open this one because the .pub is the public. So open it in Notepad and copy it. It's a single file line. Make sure you don't add the new line on it. Just copy it exactly how it is. You see, I highlighted it. Go to copy, edit copy, and then I'll close it. Now go to GitHub. When you open your GitHub, most times this is what you are going to see. In case you are in a project view like this, there is a settings here. This is not where you want to go. Go to your profile. Look at this profile icon here. Click on your profile. You see, there is a settings there. This settings here has nothing to do with the one here. This one is for your profile. This one is for your project. So go to this one under your profile. And you look for SSH and GPG keys. Click on it. You see, I don't have any SSH key here. Just add new SSH key. I'm going to say local system. I just give it any name you like, and then I'll paste it. I'll right click now and click paste. This was what we copied, and then I click add. Remember, now it's asking me to put my password, which I'm going to go and confirm. Now, my SSH key has been added to GitHub. You remember what we did? We generated it using the key gen. We got these two files, and I said that the two files we got, I said that you don't open this one. Only the .pub file is what you open and copy to GitHub. Now that we've copied it to GitHub, we can go to our project again. I'm going to go to the project now. Let me clear the screen, and then I'll run that same push command again. You see, everything now works. Fantastic. What I want to do now will surprise you a little bit. I'm going to delete the project. So I'll come here. I'm going to delete. Right click now. I'll move to recycle bin. In short, I'm going to empty the recycle bin. So let's say we mistakenly deleted our project, or we move to a new computer and we want to work from there. Remember, we are hosting the project on GitHub. That means we are safe. The project is now on GitHub. So I want to do something else called cloning. Cloning means you can bring down the project from GitHub and continue working on it. So I'm going to click on this code here. There are multiple ways to clone. HTTPS SSH key. Using your SSH key is this SSH tab is what you need to click. Be careful, because sometimes when you use this one, things can get a little bit tricky. So I'm going to click this one and copy, and then I would, let me minimize. This time I can open that bash, git bash. So anytime you are not using your text editor, you should be using the git bash. This git bash, if I typed pwd, is going to tell me where I am currently. If I type ls, it's going to show me all the files in this directory. So I want to go to the desktop. So I'll say cd desktop. It doesn't matter if you like, you can open your text editor to do it, but I'm in the desktop now. So I'm going to type git clone, and then I'll paste the URL that I copied from there. Sorry, something got messed up. Git clone and paste the URL. So I think it didn't copy. So let's go there and make sure that it's copied. All right, let's see now if we've copied it correctly this time. I'm going to right click and paste. Yes, it's copied down, and now it's cloning. Now that we've cloned it, let me minimize this. You see, it cloned into a web project, but that's not what I want. I want the web folder. I don't want of course, you can just right click and rename it here if you like, but I want to show you how to specify. I'll delete it. I'll press the tab up, and then I'll put the name of the folder that I want to clone into. So it's going to have a folder called web. It's cloning, and then we have it. So the command is really very simple: git clone, and then you give it the URL, which is this git at something of the project, and then it clones into the folder that you specify, like web project or whatever name of the folder. And of course, if you wanted to use the same folder name, it can use this one, right? Fantastic. Now that we have cloned it, you can go back to your text editor, and the files are back here, and we've not lost anything, right? So we've covered how to add your SSH key to GitHub, how to pull the changes from there, which we just did, and how to push. Now let's work on something called pull request. So imagine this time around, I'm going to go to view and then open terminal, so I don't switch out of the text editor. I'm going to do git checkout. I'll say B, let me add a new branch called login this time, and in the login file I'm going to add the form, and I'll just add input. And so I'm just, this has nothing to do with Git per se, but it's just to show you the workflow. And then login, I just have a form here, and I have a placeholder username. So imagine we've worked on this branch of the project. Let's commit our changes. Added login form, right? Imagine we've worked on this branch, and then let's push it. Remember, we can now push without username and password because we have our SSH key on GitHub. So I'm going to push. This time we are pushing to the login branch, not master branch, right? Because that's where we are working from. We've pushed. Now, how do you submit a pull request? So we go here now, look at our branch, then you say compare and pull request. But if you don't see it here, let's say you don't even see it there, you can come here and you can go to pull request and do it as well. But since we are seeing this, see pull request here, you can, when you are there, you can create a new pull request. But anywhere you see the pull request banner like this, you can just click. So I click on it. Pull request is basically you asking your teammates to, hey, this is the work I've done so far. Please take a look at it. What do you think about it? If it's fine by them, they go ahead and approve it. When they approve it, it gets merged. So when you are making your pull request, you have an origin and a destination. For this, the origin is your current branch, where you are, and where do you want it to be merged with. So you want you're making your pull request on this login branch, and you want it to be merged with master branch. So when it is approved and merged, your changes will now synchronize with master. If we go to master right now, this is the master branch. If you open the login, you see the form is not here yet because we didn't work on the master branch. We worked on the login branch. Now, I'll go ahead and type some message. Companies usually have like the format of how they want the message to look and all that. So I've just added, I added a single field. You can format it. I say I can do this, check for errors and all that. And then when you are done, you can create pull request. Sometimes you can click on this to create a draft. A draft means it can be approved yet, but you can show it to people privately for them to see. So, but I'll go ahead now and do it. If you like, you can scroll down to see the changes you've made. So these are your changes here. So create pull request. Now it's doing some checks. immediately it's done, usually there is a way they protect like the branch that you won't be able to merge it yourself. So, but because we are learning, you can imagine that now if the pull request, if they approve it, this thing didn't format correctly, but it's okay. If it's been approved, then you say merge pull request or squash, rebase, or whatever you want to do. But we just focus on this simple idea, and then you can now merge the pull request. But let's say you don't want to merge it yet, like there are some issues. Now you can pretend to be someone else, like maybe a senior developer from your team. The person can say, okay, you can come here, look at the files, and they say, oh, this form is not complete. So the person can say, okay, kindly add a password field, and the person start the review, right? So the person just left you a comment. Now when you click on pull request, you see all the pull requests here. You see, like, you look at the comment is there now. It hasn't been addressed. So in order for you to address this, you can go and do the thing. Let's say we should add another input. So we're going to go and do that. This time around, password, and I'm going to just clear my screen. Git add, git commit, added password field, and then git push origin, and then the login branch, and the changes will be pushed to GitHub on that same branch. If you look at it, you see we have more changes push. You can see the message here. And when you are working with team members, you're going to see like a way to resolve this issue here. You can even reply to the issue, done. I'm just going to say done. You see that is very interactive, like a really nice place to collaborate with team members and do all that. Now, if we are done with all the things, all the changes that we want, we can go to review changes, and then you can then approve, right? It's a little bit tricky because I'm using the same account, but I can just say a cancel review now, so I can merge it. But overall, you are able to just come here and merge. When you merge, it's the same thing like you merge on your local system. The changes will now be on the master branch. So when we go to login here, you see the changes are now on the master branch. Now, if you switch to your master branch on your local system, you won't see it. Git checkout master, right? The changes are not yet in your master branch locally. So what you need to do, we need to pull the latest changes that was merged to master. So the recently merged changes to master needs to be pulled down. And it's important because if you don't do that, you're going to run into something called git conflict, which I'll try to show you shortly. So I'm going to now do git pull from where origin master, and then that is it. It's going to put it down, boom, and I have it. So how about this idea of conflict? And conflict is basically means if multiple people are changing the same file, sometimes Git wants you to decide on how to reconcile those changes. So you have to be careful. Let me show you an example. Let's go back to our login branch again. I'm going to do something here now I'm going to add a cancel here, and then add it, git commit, add cancel, and then git push -u origin login. You should start getting used to all the commands by now. This time around, I'm going to merge it here. You see, nothing is showing. It's not showing that bar. So let's go here and create a pull request ourselves. So I'm going to do pull request. let's make sure that it was pushed to login. Great. So I'm going to select the branch and look at what we added, and then create a pull request. Added cancel and create pull request. I'll just go ahead and merge it here. Now, so pretend that you don't even know you have been working on the master branch, but you don't know that new changes has been also merged. Like some of your team members now merge new changes to master, but you are unaware of that. So let's go to master, and here I'm going to say forgot password. Get it right. Let's say this is what we've done. Git add, git commit, add forgot password. Up there on GitHub, master contain new changes that we are not aware of. So see, look at what is going to happen. Git push you origin master, and look at, say, rejected, error, failed to push some ref, which is references to GitHub, blah, blah, blah. And it's saying updates were rejected because the remote contains work that you do not have locally. That is very clear that we didn't have those latest changes. Now see the second problem. So git pull, want to pull from origin master, and let's see, now you hit your first git conflict. Congratulations on having your first git conflict. Trust me, as you grow in your programming career, you get used to this. Now it's a conflict. Merge conflict in login.html, automatic merge failed, fix conflict, and then commit the result. So what are we looking at here? This IDE is very helpful. This Visual Studio code that we are using is very helpful. It's telling us that we have incoming changes and local changes. So how do we want to do it? Honestly, since I know what it should look like, I'm going to manually do it. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to remove all these things that are here. And so this was the cancel they added, and this was the forgot password. So if I like, I can even rearrange it like this, just to put the code in how I think it should look like with the changes from there. So so that's what I'm going to. Sorry, someone is talking on the staircase. So we have resolved the conflict, and then we just need to add it like regular commit, merge with master. As like I'm going to just clear git push you origin and then master. Now we're able to push it, right? Boom, great. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching. We've covered a significant amount of content on Git here. If you're still having any doubt, any problems, please do let me know. I know the SSH key part can be confusing to a lot of people, but it's quite easy. Don't forget to use git bash. Use git bash to generate the SSH key just by running SSH key gen. You know, just continue pressing enter key until you get your last key. Your keys will be stored in, just go to cd, this small tilde that we have here, and then put .ssh key. This tilde actually means your current home directory, yeah, your username home directory. And then you type ls. You should see your keys. We also say that never open this one without an extension, but this public key is what you open and copy to GitHub. And we open it simply by opening it on Notepad like this. And then we copy the content carefully because this is an encryption thing, so you have to be careful. And we copied it and we went to GitHub. We click on our profile, we click on settings. Don't forget that the settings under profile. We clicked on SSH key, and GP key, this link, and then we clicked on new SSH key and we added it, and that was it. So straightforward, but it can be confusing for beginners, and I think I was really slow in explaining it, so you should be able to follow it. Thank you, and do have a wonderful day. Please, if you have not subscribed, kindly do so. Bye for now.